Good evening. My name is Tarik Zehic, and before I like to start the presentation off, I do apologize for the camera. I do not know why it's not working, but I am using my laptop, and for some reason I'm having difficulties. Now, today's presentation is focusing on understanding Alex, as it says in the title. Who is, and we'd like to get into along the intro. Before we do, though, we'll go through the overview certain topics that we're going to be discussing. We're going to be having the introduction, development issues Alex is facing, summary on the issues, our literature reviews, an in-depth literature review using evidence-based knowledge, targeted interventions, media sources covering the targeted interventions, communications, expected outcomes from communications, collaborative approaches, and implementations. Now, who is Alex? Alex is our Year 11 student experiencing a decline in academic performance and an increasing disengagement from school and from learning, especially in the subject of earth environmental sciences. Although Alex initially demonstrated exceptional achievement in the subject, performance begins to decline during the second half of the year. One contributing factor is the continued use of explicit instruction. While this teaching approach was effective in developing foundational scientific knowledge in the earlier part of the year, the ongoing use of highly structured guidance has reduced opportunities for independence and challenge in Alex's learning. As a result, Alex is now experiencing a lower self efficacy. He has shown a reduction of motivation and difficulty maintaining attention in class due to the redundancy effect on his cognitive load. At the same time, we do know Alex is experiencing ongoing bullying. Now, bullying and cyberbullying related to the late pubertal development and strong passion for his studies in environmental studies. We obviously know that he's quite a passionate student. These negative peer experiences are impacting his emotional well-being, his belonging within school and at home, and his ability to find himself and his identity, especially during the critical stage of adolescence. Now, this presentation will examine the development and psychosocial issues affecting Alex, alongside evidence-based interventions and collaborative support strategies designed to improve academic engagement, his well-being, his confidence, and his long-term educational outcomes.
My name is Lana, and today I will be discussing Alex's developmental challenges and how they are impacting his academic performance, motivation, well-being, and identity during adolescence. So Alex's situation involves several interconnected issues rather than a single problem. These challenges are linked to learning, self-belief, peer relationships, and emotional well-being. Firstly, one of the key issues is Alex's learning environment. Alex initially achieved very strong results in earth and environmental sciences um, because the teacher used explicit instruction. The teaching method involved clear instructions, modeling, and step-by-step guidance, which helped Alex develop strong fundamental knowledge and understanding. However, as Alex's skills and competence increased, the highly structured approach became less effective. This is because the teachers continued to provide constant guidance. Alex is experiencing what is known as redundancy effect. So this occurs when students receive too much support for tasks that they already understand. As a result of this, learning becomes repetitive, less challenging, and less engaging. This helps explain why Alex is now struggling to maintain attention and motivation in class despite having a strong interest in the environmental science. The teaching approach that has also affected Alex's self-efficacy, which refers to a person's belief in their ability to succeed independently. Rather than developing confidence as an independent learner, Alex has started to believe that success depends on the continuous teacher's support. This reduced confidence and is likely decreasing motivation, persistence, and willingness to attempt more challenges in the scientific tasks. At the same time, Alex is experiencing bullying, particularly online cyberbullying, which is related to the environmental interest and late pubertal development. So, adolescence is a critical stage for identity formation, and peer feedback has a major effect on self-esteem and personal identity. Because of the bullying, Alex is beginning to question aspects of identity that were previously meaningful and important, especially environmental advocacy. So, pubertal timing is also contributing to vulnerability. Being physically different from peers during adolescence can increase social insecurity and make young people more vulnerable and victimized. Combined with ongoing cyberbullying, these experiences may intensify emotional distress, reduce feelings of safety at school, and contribute to withdrawal from learning and social activities. So overall, um, Alex's decline in academic performance is not caused by one singular factor. Instead, it results from the interaction between learning difficulties, reduced self-efficacy, identity disruption, and the environment and the emotional impacts of bullying during adolescence. Okay, so for the literature review, these all strongly support the concerns. So research by Anita Archer and Charles Hughes shows that explicit instruction is highly effective when students are learning new or complex material because it provides structure, modeling, and a guided practice. This clearly connects with Alex's early learning success in environmental and earth sciences. Um, However, research by Slava explains that too much guidance can create the redundancy effect, where students become disengaged because the tasks are no longer challenging. This directly relates to Alex's current experiences of boredom and reduced attention in class. The literature also highlights the importance of self-efficacy in motivation and achievement. Research by Ellen Usher and Brett Winder found that students with strong self-efficacy are more likely to persist through challenges and learning independently. Bullying research from UNSCO also shows that bullying and cyberbullying negatively affect emotional well-being, school belonging, and academic performance. Because cyberbullying continues beyond school through online platforms, it impacts can be especially harmful for adolescents like Alex. Finally, research by Seth Swartz and colleagues highlight that peer relationships strongly influence adolescents' identity development and self-esteem. Negative peer experiences can create identity confusion and self-doubt, which is highly relevant to Alex's experience. Overall, the literature demonstrates that Alex's needs are interconnected across learning, motivation, well-being, and identity development. Therefore, effective support for Alex should include more independence and inquiry-based learning opportunities, strategies to rebuild self-efficacy, sorry, and interventions that address bullying, emotional well-being, and positive identity development.
Targeted interventions for well-being and motivation, well-being and bullying support. Alex's disengagement is linked to bullying, low self-esteem, and identity issues, which has a negative effect on well-being, motivation, and school belonging. Although Alex first improved with teacher support, relying too much on guided teaching reduced confidence and also independent learning. So, according to Bandura's self-efficacy theory, students may doubt their abilities when they depend heavily on teacher guidance. Teachers can improve motivation by giving Alex more through inquiry-based learning. For example, collaborative environmental sustainability projects can reconnect Alex with personal interests, increase engagement, and build confidence. These strategies also support inclusivity, student voice, and also social emotional well-being. So with my diagram, I've got the targeted interventions for well-being and motivation. So I've started off with bullying, low confidence, disengagement, teacher support, and lastly, motivation. An example of the classroom strategy is that invite Alex to lead a sustainable group project to boost confidence and engagement. Communication with parent and teachers. Professional communication and collaboration. Strong communication between teachers, parents, and well-being staff is important in supporting Alex. Rather than focusing on disengagement, teachers should use a strength-based approach and build on Alex's interest in environmental science. Regular well-being meetings and collaborative support plans can help provide consistent care in school and also at home. Research shows that positive teacher-student relationships and school collaboration improve resilience, engagement, and also well-being. Overall, supportive communication and a safe learning environment can help Alex rebuild confidence, motivation, and the connection to school. With this diagram, I've got the professional communication and the collaboration. So I've started with supporting Alex in the middle as the main point. We've got parents, we've got teacher, we've got well-being. This also uses a strength-based language with which I have provided at the bottom. Alex shows strong interest in environmental science. Lastly, expected outcomes and future support. Building long-term student success. So using inquiry-based learning, well-being support, and positive teacher relationships can help Alex rebuild confidence and motivation in school. These strategies encourage independence, improves participation, and strengthen social connections to peers. Long-term support should continue through regular check-ins with teachers, counselors, and also family members to ensure that Alex feels safe and, of course, supported. Providing opportunities for student voice and collaboration learning can also increase belonging and resilience. Well, overall, a supportive and inclusive environment can also improve Alex's academic engagement, well-being, and of course, long-term success at school. So I created a diagram that has the before support and the after support. So at the very bottom, I've included support, confidence, engagement, and of course, success.
Now, the collaborative approach and strategies that we want to put into place. Supporting Alex effectively does require a collaborative and student-centered approach, okay? And involving all these stakeholders and main supporters such as, teachers, parents, school counselors, well-being staff, and where appropriate, even, school friends and peers. Because Alex's difficulties involve interconnected academic, emotional, and social challenges, communication between all these stakeholders must remain the same and must remain respectful, confidential, and consistent. Now, ensuring that discussions focus not only on Alex's challenges, but also on his strengths, his interests, and future goals within environmental science. This will allow Alex to open up. It's going to give Alex the ability to be confident and comforting enough to even open up in these spaces. Teachers and parents should work together to create consistent support strategies across both school and home environments. They should always be in contact together. They should always be able to provide each other feedback on how Alex is and how he was that day, perhaps in class. This may include encouraging, independent learning. This is going to help us monitor his emotional well-being and reinforcing positive peer interactions. Consistency across these settings can also help rebuild Alex's confidence, his self-efficacy, his motivation, and his, sense of belonging and who he is as a person. Regular well-being and academic check-ins should also be implemented to monitor classroom engagement, emotional well-being, peer relationships, and progress over time. These meetings that we want to kind of make should allow teachers and well-being staff to identify concerns earlier and even early on and adjust support strategies when necessary since they have the knowledge behind of what they do. Collaboration is essential to ensure that Alex feels supported, understood, and safe within the school environment while maintaining ongoing academic and emotional development. Collaboration between his students, for an example. We want Alex to be, in a constant state of comfort. We're not in a comfort sense of badness, but we want it to be comfortable around the people who he is. So instilling, classroom activities and certain things may allow people to get to know him a little bit better, allowing them to support him and him supporting others. Implementations and long-term support. In practice, these strategies can be implemented through both classroom adjustments and targeted well-being supports. Within the classroom, teachers can gradually reduce excessive scaffolding and can increase and it may more of an introduction towards inquiry-based and collaborative learning opportunities that could in fact help encourage independency, problem solving, and critical thinking within Alex and his classwork. These approaches are more appropriate for Alex's current level of understanding and may help reduce disengagement caused by repetitive step-by-step instruction, providing opportunities, leadership opportunities. Now, for students, providing opportunities such as this within environmental, for an example, may also strengthen his motivation and, help rebuild his self-efficacy by reconnecting Alex with his personal interests and future career goals, may give him that reminder to do what he's doing. Alongside his academic interventions, Alex should be referred to the school counselor, whether it's the school counselor or someone in the wellbeing team, to address his emotional impacts of bullying, his identity confusions and concerns, and his reduced school belonging. Anti-bullying and cyberbullying strategies should also be implemented to improve peer relationships and strengthen feelings of safety at school. Over time, these interventions are expected to improve, his classroom engagement, his confidence, independence, and peer connectedness. Continued collaboration between the teachers and students, however, and the wellbeing staff also on the back, will help allow Alex to progress even further on his senior years. Now, overall, combining evidence-based teaching practices with strong emotional and social support can help students like Alex achieve both academic success and a positive well-being outcome towards not only his education, but as well as his life and as well as what he wants to do after life. And thank you very much. Have a great day.